I'm going to keep nutting away at this and see how I go. It's already 4 o'clock in the afternoon. As I said, it's been a day. 3 hours to get the car running again. That was fun.
From the desert's hot embrace to the cool of eucalyptus shade, no fence holds back the spirit of the path we bravely made. 10 adventures we won't be tamed, blazing trails where wild...
G'day campers, welcome back to 10 Adventures. And my second filming job for today. This one, as you can see, trying to open our fridge on the fridge side is fine, but I can't really get to it. Look, for me, I'm going to be okay if it's here, but anything tall, it's not going to be ideal, right? I want to put a drop slide in the back of the car. Drop slide, fair and reasonable, except... do you reckon I can find one that fits the OCAM drawers? I can, and it's OCAM, and that's it. All the other ones I looked at are either too wide for the shelf or for the fridge slide, or too narrow for the fridge that we've got. And yes, we do need to take this fridge, apart from the fact that it cost us a lot of money and I don't want to buy another fridge. This is the one that's got the battery, and we don't have a dual battery in the car, as I've mentioned. So I need to be able to mount this securely and be able to access it from the back of the car. Now, one of the other things you'll notice, I'm actually moving this around quite freely. One of the challenges I've got with this vehicle is that or not with the vehicle, there's nothing wrong with the vehicle. One of the challenges I've got with the OCAM drawers is that they don't come with any integrated tie-down points for your fridge. So the cheap and, I'm going to say it, nasty because I've owned them, King's drawers have little eyelets that you can hook tie-downs into, built into the drawer slide. This does not. So that's a pain, especially if you're doing any sort of off-roading where you're going to be rolling around. You don't want this thing sliding around. We are putting some stuff in the back of the car in my next video that will help alleviate some of that issue. But for today, I want to secure this fridge. Now, she's a bit of a big unit. This is a 60 litre. To be honest, we probably went overs on what we actually need when it comes to a fridge, but we got a really good deal. Battery, DC converter. Watch the video for it. I'll put a link somewhere here-ish, a tag now, and a link in the description. Check out that video. The battery system that comes with this fridge is fantastic. This is going to allow us to do whole day trips without any issues, charging the battery and keeping this fridge running without any issues at all. Big thank you to the guys at OCAM who gave me a little bit of advice on the drawers when I picked them up. Advice they gave me, look, the drawers, you've got the aluminium kit. They knew exactly who I was, which was nice. They said, you've got the aluminium drawers. Be mindful. While our drop slide does allow you to extend, and if you go to their website, you'll see them, they'll open the drawers like this, and then they'll drop the fridge down here. On the steel drawers, that's not going to be a problem. On the aluminium drawers, their advice was test it before you do it in practice. So make sure you've got a good hold on it rather than just leaving it there. The aluminium drawers, they are lighter and therefore structurally may not be as strong as the steel. It's not to say that the drawers are weak in any way, shape or form, or that that there's any compromising in the quality of the drawers because they're aluminium. There's not. They're fantastic. As I said, when I installed them, despite the challenges I had installing the drawers, I love them. They are actually really, really good. Love the look of them. I've got no complaints at all. Except for the lack of tie down for a fridge, but that's neither here nor there. This here, in this tightly packed wooden crate, is our fridge slide. I will say that's not very light. It's probably about 25 kilos. So, I'm going to have to unpack this out of the wooden frame that it's come in. That's going to be a little bit fun. One thing I did note when I picked this up is that I'm not sure which way is up. The reason being, on this side, it says up is facing towards the camera. On this side, down here, it says up is pointing into the garage. So I don't know which is top or bottom of this particular case. I actually don't think it matters. It's not going to be, if this is fragile, we've bought the wrong bit of kit, let's put it that way. So look, I'm going to rip this crate apart as best I can without damaging what's in the box. Let's get into unpacking it. Just going to say, if you are pulling this apart, just note that there is a lot of little nails here. They're thin and they're very sharp. Don't let that get under any of your tyres and keep it away from the kids, or in our case, dogs. That's a bit of an effort, but we're open. Turns out I had it upside down. So this is what's in the box, as we can see from this angle. A little precarious. Now, one thing I'm going to say with this, from the outset, there is no mounting hardware with this drop slide. OCAM have been upfront and honest about that. It's on their website. There is no mounting hardware. And conveniently, also no mounting instructions. So I guess I can't complain about the quality of them if they're not there. So let's see how we go fitting this in the car, because that's going to be the next big question. And to be fair to the guys at OCAM, they did say, now mate, have you checked that it'll fit? I got a tape measure out and I measured it and it says that it'll fit, but she's girthy. And I've actually got some other concerns about it, which I'll get to shortly. But in the meantime, let's see if this actually fits on the drawers. Talking in first and foremost, it is virtually the exact width of the drawer slide. So that's actually right up to the edge on both sides. So question number one, will it fit? Yes, yes, it does look like it will. Let's get this wrapping off and see how it all looks. Okay, so initial thoughts, looking at it. Do be really careful when unpacking this. One thing I did notice is that this corner here was slightly bent in. Now I haven't dropped it or rested anything on that corner, so I think that's actually been slightly bent in transit. That said, a little bit of elbow, and it wasn't bad. It was just going to stop the fridge slide from being able to slide. But that's all quite good. And that's basically how the thing operates. Now, where I'm worried is when I mount this, I've got to make sure that when it's extended, it's the frame holding it, not the top of the drawers. Just going to show you the side of the door here. I just want to make sure that these edge bits here are not going to interfere with closing the door. So, I'm actually going to mount my camera here, my second camera, so that I can see those slides and just see whether, when I shut the door, whether it touches. All right, well, looking at the camera, it looks like that fit okay. My next question. Now, this is probably an even bigger question. Does the fridge fit in it? According to, again, the OCAM website, should have no problem. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take this out. I'm going to put it on the crate that it came in. I can realign this, readjust it afterwards. The important questions are out of the way. What I want to know is, if my fridge doesn't fit, I'm back to square one. So let's pull it out and have a look. Okay, so I've got it out. Now the question, as I say, is my fridge going to fit? Yes. Yes, it fits in the drawer. The other big question is, once it's in the drawer, does the fridge and the drawer fit in the back of the car? I'm going to make sure it doesn't hit the back of the chairs here. So I've got plenty of room there. All right, hint for next week's video, we're putting some K-on stuff in. You can probably guess why I'm worried about where the back of my chairs are, if you're familiar with the K-on gear. If not, watch the next episode, this will all make more sense. So, I'm worried about the back of the chairs, but also when you're at this end and you look at this angle here, distance from roof down, there's plenty of fridge exposed along this edge here. So obviously my next concern is my back window. So let's close her up again. Probably shouldn't have let that go so hard, but all right, good news is it looks like everything fits. So now that I've done all of that, guess what? I'm going to take it all out of the car again. Now I've got to work out how I'm going to mount it, because that's going to be, I haven't worked that bit out yet. All right, let's get this off. Just remembered, I got a drill to do this. My original thought was also whether or not I'd be able to use these fixing points to mount the unit to. Unfortunately, none of them align. So I thought this might be, being an OCAM unit, designed to fit better with OCAM drawers, but it's not actually designed specifically to fit any OCAM drawers specifically. It's actually designed as a unit to fit false floors, other drawers, mount it to whatever you like, really. So I can't fault OCAM in their decisions and the way they've engineered this. Look, was I in charge of engineering? That would never happen, but were I would probably try and make something that's going to fit my own other products better. However, again, the differences between these drawers and, say, the 300 series, the drawers they do for the 300 series or even the 200 series, they're wider, they're a different shape. So again, not necessarily going to be able to align to everything that they do while still maintaining structural integrity, etc. So yeah, I can't cast aspersions or throw shade on OCAM for that. It's just the way that they've done things, and it makes some level of logical sense. So let's take this off. I'll just flip it upside down for a second. Now I'm 99.999% sure that this is basically just fiberboard. It's not solid timber. It's definitely not any sort of metal or aluminium or anything else. So this is not going to, yeah, this in and of itself is going to need some additional reinforcing to get the drawer slide to be structurally sound. So I'm just going to drop this aside for a second and have a look at our layout. So this is the inside of the slide with nothing attached to it. And one of the things I noticed when I was looking at this as well, we've actually got some secondary points here. So this front one here is where the mounting screw goes, but there's another one behind it that's not what that's for. And at the far end of the drawer, if I open that up, we've got again the same situation. One of these is used, one of them is not. So I'm not entirely sure whether or not I could potentially even use these already installed points. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the drop slide out. You know, I'm almost tempted to leave it like this. It fits in between the drawers. I don't think this is as silly as it sounds. Looking at it from here, it sits lower, but I will say it's quite tight. So I'm going to try and leverage it more to this side. I do want to be able to open this reasonably easily. So I'll knock everything over. Again, partly because I think if I got the fridge here, this might actually double up as a table rather than putting the K on table in. With this in, I'm not going to be able to put the K on table in anyway. It's going to sit and smash the table in when the door closes. I can do it without this on, but I can't do it with. So if you are looking at a fridge slide for your Prado and you've got the OCAM drawers and or any drawers that you might be adding this to, let's be fair, and you've got enough room to put the K on folding drawer in, it's not going to work with this slide. So that's answered that question. And unfortunately, K-on, there's a purchase I was planning on that's not going to happen. But look, let me know in the comments below. Would you, in your thoughts, would you do as I'm doing here? My only concern is this bit of a gap at the back here, which honestly, I'm not that worried about. Nobody's going to be able to see it anyway because the fridge is going to be in the way. And some of the other stuff I've got going on, or going into the car shortly, it's going to render that a moot point. So I think this is the way I'm going to go. I'm actually going to mount it directly to the frame and not to the top panel. And one of the other things that comes out of this is once I've put this in, if I want to take this out because I want a flat surface, I won't have drilled into the main top. All I need to do is rip out the bolts in this and put the other tabletop straight back in on top. So the question then remains, how am I going to bolt this in? What am I going to use to mount this to the hardware, to the frame? And I'm actually thinking, my old mate, the riv nut. It's such a good tool, and I think that might be the way I need to go. This could all, of course, be a total mistake and I end up really messing things up, but it wouldn't be a 1010 Adventures video if I didn't. I'm actually genuinely nervous now. I have no idea how this is going to pan out. Okay, a bit of white paint, fine paintbrush. I want to do this without painting parts of my car. I mean, that worked, but I've made an absolute mess of it. And now the other fun part. I'm going to paint around the rims of these here. I'm just going to have to do this quickly. I can't really film it. Oops. And try and hope like hell I've got that in the right spot. Moment of truth. I'll try and hold my camera so we can see. I think that's worked. It's not perfect by any stretch, but I think it gives me a good indication where I'm trying to go. So let's try and not wipe that off as I do it. Now I've just got to find something to rest this on so I can turn it upside down and drill through it without damaging what's underneath. Well, that's those holes done. So that's here and here done. Getting the rest in, I'm not sure how that's going to go. I'm really not sure if I'm even going to be able to do these two front ones. My paint idea hasn't really worked for me as well as I would have liked. And trying to put everything else in, I just don't know. I just don't know how this is going to go. Right, so one of the challenges I'm going to have now is that these bolts, when they're in the hole, I don't quite have enough room to get them past that lip. So now I've got to see if I've got something that's got the same 5.5mm thread or 5mm thread, but a slightly smaller top that I can just drop a washer or something on top and see how that goes. And that's in really well. Right, so that being the case, the next thing I've got to do is get 2 more holes in. Technically 4 more holes. 2 here and 2 here. Alright, so I had a bit of a plan. I've put a hole punch in, and I won't show you how I did that because it might make some of you cry because it wasn't really appropriate use of my tools. But I've got a centre point now, but I cannot get through this aluminium with this drill. I've got very sharp drill bits, but I'm just not getting through, and I'm really not sure what else I need to do to get the drill bit to bite. You can possibly see just a tiny little scratch on the surface there. That's literally all I've been able to do with the drill, and I've got to get up to basically a 10mm drill bit to get through this. This is going to wait till tomorrow, I think, because I'm knackered and I'm not getting anywhere. See you in the morning. Well guys, we're back for day 2 of this mission, for want of a better word. So day 2 is not going to plan. Thus far this morning, due to the amount of time I spent with the doors open, and because I'm an idiot, I left my internal lights on, went to move the car this morning to go and buy a step drill bit, and guess who had a flat battery? This guy right here. So that's been issue number 1. Issue number 2, I've gone and bought a step drill. I've got bits coming out of my backside, new drill bits, older drill bits, etc. Do you reckon I can drill into this surface? I have gotten, with 6 different drill bits, I don't even know if you can see this tiny little hole here. That is all I have been able to get on one after hole punching it. So I had a centre punch to mark where I needed to drill. That tiny little dent there is all I've managed to do. Now this is only, you can see the edge here, it's less than 1mm thick aluminium, but I cannot get a bite into it. Now whether that's the glossy surface finish or what, I don't know. Obviously it's had things drilled into it before. There's rivets everywhere along here and riv nuts, and so I'm at a loss, guys. I can't fix this to this runner with just the 2 front bolts. It's just going to rip open the first time I pull the fridge out. So I've got to get the 2 holes in here and here, and I've got to get 2 more in back here and back, where's my mark? Back here. So I just don't know how I'm going to do this. It's causing me no end of grief. If you've got any thoughts on what I might be doing wrong, leave them in the comments below. I'm going to keep nutting away at this and see how I go. It's already 4 o'clock in the afternoon. As I said, it's been a day. 3 hours to get the car running again. That was fun. And thank you to the guy from Bunnings who was asking me whether it was because I was drilling backwards. I'm not. I'm definitely going in the right direction. That's backwards. That's forwards. So, but thank you to the guy at Bunnings who said that might be what's going on. Definitely doesn't appear to be. So, yeah. I also hope I don't look like that much of an idiot that I'd be drilling backwards, but who knows. The only other thing I can think of is to try and get some sort of big nail and try and hammer it through to get a hole started and go from there. But you'd think the hole punch or centre punch would be enough to do that, but I don't know. I'm at a loss. Normally when you're doing this thing, you drill a pilot hole. The problem is when I'm putting pressure on the thinner drill bits to try and get them to bite, they look like they're going to break. This is a titanium coated drill bit. It's the exact size I need to put the riv nuts in. I actually bought this for when I put these drawers into the car in the first place. If you remember that lovely moment of having to drill into the back of my car. If this can't do it, and I admit I'm not thrilled about trying to go straight to a 1mm hole. It's not the right way to do it, but this is going to be the sharpest and sturdiest bit that I've got. So I'm going to give it a go. And yeah, feel free, call me an idiot in the comments. I don't care right now because I'm running out of ideas. I've never seen anything like this. I'm going to be back in, I don't know, however long it takes me to get this done. I think I'm just going to have to keep persisting and just keep putting pressure on that drill and hoping that it eventually cuts through. I'm not sure how that's going to go. This is like nothing I've ever worked with before. I'm quite happy to admit I'm not the most tool savvy guy or handy guy around the place, but this is, I don't understand how this is a softer metal, being aluminium, but I can't cut it. It's not making sense to me. Otherwise I need to try and put some cutting compound or something down, which I'm worried is going to do more damage to my drill bits than anything else. Yeah, I'm at a loss. I'm at an absolute loss. Leave me a comment down below on what you would have done in this situation, because this is a challenge. Anyway, I'm going to keep persisting. Hopefully the next time you see me, I'm starting to put some riv nuts in. Let's see how we go. We got one in. It's not clean, it's angled, it's messy, but we have a hole. My issue now is I've now got to put a riv nut in that. I'm not too worried. I thought I had a riv nut here. Maybe I don't. Yes, I do. That's going to go in okay. I'm not too stressed. What I'm a little bit stressed out is how much effort that took. I had to pretty much sit in the back of the car here. That's why I'm up here, and put my full body weight on top of the drill to get it to bite into that, to get it in. Once I did get some level of traction or some level of bite, it did rip in, but whew, that was, and it's absolutely blunted the tip of the drill bit. I'm not using a 9mm, and I've destroyed the tip on that one. So I'm now going to try a different one. It's pretty much destroyed every bit that I've used. This aluminium has destroyed the tip of. Even even my good one is losing its edge. Yeah, this has been a mission. I'm just going to put my full weight onto it and keep going. Let's wish me luck. I'm going to need it. Well, guys, believe it or not, I've actually got the bloody thing in. Well, I've got the nut certs in. That's taken an hour and a half to drill 3 holes, not to mention the time I put in yesterday. Challenge is, and I knew this was going to happen when I pulled the drawer out, I'm only getting about 6 inches. For the non-Americans of us, about 15 centimetres. So, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. So this panel here, it's got my little, I found the vacuum again. So this panel here, when the fridge is in, when that slides in, I'm not going to be able to open this due to where this the fridge slide finishes. So I do need to be able to open this a little bit. 2 here should be enough for me to get past the main parts, or the main culprits that are preventing me from being able to access and open that. Only reason I really need to open that is if I need to get to my bottle jack. I haven't got a compressor or anything in there at this stage. And look, depending on how I go with the rest of this build, that may just be unused space. I don't really know yet. I don't want it to leave it as unused space, to be fair, but I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Anyway, that's working. I've only put in 3 additional nut certs. I've left one off on this point here. The main reason being is, if you look at the colour of my drill bits, I don't know if that's going to come in on camera, but I have literally heat tempered those trying to cut through this. Using smaller drill bits, they just wouldn't bite. So the only way I was seemed to be able to get into it was using a larger drill bit and putting every ounce of my weight into it and cutting in. And I'm sure I'm doing this wrong. So please crucify me in the comments if you like for being an idiot. I don't know whether I'm supposed to be using, as I said, some cutting abrasive or some sort of lubricant. Couldn't really find. Dr. Google really didn't help. So I just used the Jeremy Clarkson method. More power. Geez, that has been a mission and a half. I'm really hoping that all this effort is worth it and this fridge slide does what we need it to do, given we're going to need that fridge in, I think about 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time. In fact, by the time this video airs, we might even be back. We'll see how we go. Anyway, I'm going to go and get the main portion, the main piece, and I'm going to see how we go securing it in place, because as you'll see in a second, the holes that I've put in, or where the holes are for these additional nut certs that I've put in, where they sit, there's a really big hole, a lot bigger than those inserts. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. I think I'm going to need some large washers, and yeah, wish me luck. All right, so my 2 original points that I put in, they've sat in just fine. That one looks to be okay. There's not one there. The real question is, have I got the back ones in the right spots? That one's okay. And that's going to be tight. It's going to be very tight, but I'll make it work. All right, so I've got some M8 very, very large washers. Fortunately, I had some of these lying around. As I thought, this corner here, after all that trouble getting that hole in, it is going to be a problem. So I don't know how I'm going to manage it, but speed and power probably is going to be the answer. Okay, I was actually worried about that not going in, but looks like it has. All right, now that that's in, that is rigid. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that, despite all the trials and tribulations. All right, just realised one thing I haven't checked is whether I can open this drawer. Yes, I can. Okay, that's good. I'm actually quite impressed with the overall quality and build of this. So, yeah, it's, well, especially with the drawers now, after what that took to get those holes in. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult now that this is in, on that side, I think. Basically, what I've got here, these are the bearings. So, silver bearing and washer and a nylock nut. Just got to thread this through this hole here, nut on. Now, this is just going to keep free spinning because I need to get into it with a torque wrench, which is going to be easier said than done. No. Well, that was easy. And then now we just do the same on the other side. Now to open it, so do this from here, we just pull this tab here. That releases the 2 bolts either side. Pull out, and it drops down. Now the only thing I'm going to say with that, the force that drops down is when you're opening this. Definitely hang on to it. I do a pretty good job at taking my fingers off. There we go. Now I'm going to say I'm going to want this as far back as possible in the frame because I'm going to need a little bit of a gap here for my electrics. The 240 volt power I'm not too worried about, but 12 volt power I'm very worried about. So, but she's in, and there's plenty of room on both sides for the battery and DC charger. So we've got obviously plenty of room along this side, but then this side here, loads of room here. And in fact, it might even be something different I do when my K-On gear arrives. Hopefully that's with, if you remember 2 years ago, we put the roof rack on this car. I caught up with the guys from Roof Racks Super Centre, or Roof Racks Galore as they're now known. And they've hooked me up with some K-On gear. Retail price, they haven't given it to me, but just meant that I saved on shipping and a few other bits and pieces. So yeah, I'm going to go and pick that up from those guys hopefully this week. And yeah, the count's definitely on trying to get everything into this car before our big trip. But, all right, I'm going to go and clean up the rest of this and work out where my drill sharpener is and see if I can sharpen some of these drill bits, because they'd be cooked. Well guys, she's in, she's done. I've done my cleanup, I've tested it. This is working like an absolute charm. And now I can actually get into my fridge. Truth be told, we probably should have got my 45 instead of a 60 litre fridge, but you know what? If it ain't broke, it's not stupid. So I'm pretty happy. Let me know what you think about this monumental exercise, because this has been a 2-day mission. 12 or 13 drill bits completely screwed. If you had a negative opinion of OCAM, does that change your opinion on the build quality of these drawers, or the structural integrity, I should say, of the drawers? I'm definitely swayed. I already love the drawers, but now I'm convinced that they're a lot stronger than what they make out to be. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.